So for this time video, it's not about makeup, it's not about tutorials. Today it's about knowledge and sharing. So I believe that this is a very a common thing, you know, and you get to see this kind of news a lot during this pandemic, especially because this pandemic we are not meeting with people, we're not socializing, we're not communicating. We can only do that on screen. So hence I feel that this is a very important topic, and I feel like even though we have a lot of people educating, advocating for this topic, there are still a lot of people that is lacking from understanding about this issue. It is about mental health, mental state. Now I know it might be a really sensitive topic. You can say that I'm not qualified enough to say about this. Not am I speaking from my own experience, speaking from someone else's experience and from my own observation, from what I have read, from what I have heard, from what I have seen, and from what I have learned, as I also learn these kind of subjects, specifically about mental health state, mental health conditions. I learned this. I just want to speak about this because I feel like it is really sad to see this kind of news where people commit suicide or harm themselves, you know, especially when you know you cannot do anything about it. You cannot help them, you know, you can only contact them, you can only call them or video call them, but you cannot really help them. Okay, so for those of you who do not know, let me just briefly explain to you what is mental health definition from the, you know, medical side, from the medical, which is the actual definition of mental health. So mental health includes our emotional, our psychological, and also social well-being. It affects how we feel, how we act, and how we think, and also it helps to determine our ways of handling stress, relate to others, and also make choices. I am basically reading this from a medical website because I'm afraid if I am misconducting any information. And also, this is the most important key point: mental health is very important in every stages of life, in childhood, in adolescence, in adulthood, and even when you are old. Okay, so what are the factors that contributed to mental health conditions or mental health problems? Okay, so first of all is biological problems, biological issues. You could have mental health problems. It is in your genes, you can actually inherit it, but not all kinds of mental health conditions, some of it. The second factor is life event, life experiences, you know, such as you've been through trauma or you've been through abuse, like domestic abuse, childhood abuse. The third factor, which is family history, background, such as if you have, like, for example, your grandmother have experienced certain mental health conditions, you might as well be affected. Okay, so I hope that cleared a bit of your confusion in your mind and understand better what does this mental health actually means. And you need to know one thing, that when one person is having a mental health problem, basically at one stage they cannot control what they do, they cannot control what they say, they cannot control what they feel, because this is a mental health problem. When it is affected, when it becomes problem, there are certain things that is beyond your control. When I come across those kind of video where people share experience, they had self-harm themselves, you know, they're showing the bruises, the scars that they have. When I come across comments like banyakkan semayang, apa jangan tinggal solat, baca Al-Quran, those kind of comments, when you see these people these kind of people where they're having mental health problems and you give that kind of comments, it's not that I'm saying it is a wrong comment to say, you know, it is right, because from religious side it is very important to keep praying, to not leave your solat, to always read Quran and everything. But what makes you think that they're not doing it? What makes you think that they are leaving their solat? What makes you think that they don't read Quran? What makes you think that? You know, this is kind of thought when I see this type of comments. And people always relate being mentally unstable is related to your religious activities. No, it is not that. It is definitely not it. You know, some of these mental health people that is having mental health issues, they are actually more pious than us. What can you say about that? How do you argue with that religious reasons that you're lacking of salat, that you're lacking of reading Quran? How can you say that? For me, to me, even though I'm a Muslim, you know, we salat, we read Quran, but mental health, it is not related to religious activities. No, it is not. It does not depend on how much you salat, on how much you read Quran. No. Mental health is a condition, is a medical condition. It is an illness. Would you say that, oh, I got a cancer? You know, you say to someone, I was diagnosed with a breast cancer, or I was diagnosed with any type of cancer. And then you say, oh, this is probably because you lack of salat, you lack of reading Quran. Will you say that to someone who's having cancer, or having some diseases, illness? Would you say that to someone? Because mental health is an illness. So why don't people treat it like any other illness? That is the first thing that I really think when I come across to these kind of people. It is better to not say anything if you cannot say anything positive. These patients, this kind of people with mental health conditions, they really need a lot of support, especially from their loved ones. But sadly, some of these people are not getting the support and love from their loved ones, from their families. Example, they really needed support from people that they are really close with, but they don't get it. So maybe that is one of the reasons why they tend to seek it on social media. They share it on TikTok, for example, their experience or anything, just to educate people, just to make people understand more about what they are going through, so that people understand and be more sensitive about it. If you don't really understand, just pretend that you understand and just leave some kind words, you know. If you don't really mean it, just sugarcoat, something like that. Sometimes when they see positive words, they don't judge the words because it's positive, you know. You think that, oh, these people is being sincere to me, they're really supporting me, so I should do better. They are that kind of people. They really welcome positive words. However, when they hear just one kind of negative comments or negative words, it really weighs them down, you know. Even though you say hundreds of positive comments, one negative comment can just break them down really bad. But ironically, sometimes these people with mental health conditions receive the most backlash, hates from their own loved ones, from their own close ones, from their own family, which is really, really saddening, you know, because those are the people that you really need support from, especially when those people are living with you, you know. It's really important to make people understand. Even though we try to explain and make them understand, but they still somehow refuse to understand and even put the blame back on them, the mental health people. It is really sad, especially when I hear these kind of stories. People blaming them for being who they are, or for having what they are going through. People are blaming them. People are blaming them for being depressed. People are blaming them for being, you know, for being anxious. People think they are being dramatic. People think they are faking it. People think it's just a small thing. You can actually handle that. People are actually thinking that, and not just any people. It's their loved ones, their close ones themselves are actually giving this kind of comments to them. How would you feel? How would you feel when you are actually barely surviving, you are barely keeping your lives together every day, and the people who you need the support most is not giving you the support? It's even giving you a harder, it's even giving you a hard times, which to me is really, really sad. And I have friends who is currently dealing with mental health problems. What when they share stories to other people, people judge them. People think they are being dramatic. It's not. There are a lot of platforms sharing and educating people about these mental health problems, but somehow people just refuse to understand about it. Come on, people. Mental health is an illness. Treat it like an illness. People with these conditions need support, especially from their families. If you cannot afford with financial support, just give them emotional, moral support. They really need it. Believe when they say it, because they don't want things to go unexpectedly. Sometimes they didn't mean to harm themselves, it's just uncontrollable, and when they realize that it's already done. This is the reality, people, and somehow people just take it too lightly. People think that it's not true. People think it's a joke. People think that they're faking it. They're not. Today is the day that I feel that I should speak up and make people realize that no one wants to be sick. Mentally or physically, no one. Would you rather that you have felt the gratefulness walking with a complete pair of legs and hands, and suddenly for the rest of your life you have to lose it? But you don't have a choice, you have to live with it. But these people, they might have to live with it for the rest of their lives. Even though they recover from it, if they don't get enough support, it will trigger the disorder back. They have to live with it, whether it's going to be severe or less severe for the rest of their life, depending on the therapy that they go, depending on the support that they have. It is a very important thing for them. So they did not choose to have this kind of conditions, but that does not mean that every single thing that you see on the social media, that you see that people saying that they are having a certain mental health condition, I think that if you do not go to doctor, then I do not consider it a mental health condition. Maybe you're having depressive episodes, but still you need to get diagnosed. For all people who are struggling with mental health issues, or anything that you are feeling that makes you feel stressful or depressing, if you feel like you need to talk to somebody, talk. Do not be shy. Do not feel like you are being judged. Talk to someone that you feel like really comfortable and you really trust them. Talk. Sometimes you feel like it's really hard to explain, but if you do not talk, it will pile up inside your heart and it will make you feel harder. So please talk. If you feel that it is really overwhelming and you cannot take it, please go and seek some medications, some help. Seek help. Go meet a doctor or a psychiatrist or a psychologist or whatever. Talk. I feel like no one should be able to feel ashamed of what they are having. And please, for those other people out there, be kind to each other. We can never know what the people are going through in their lives. That's it for me today.